Jose gets hammered, Sturridge gives Chelsea the blues, and City are back on top. Welcome to the Top Bins Premier League review for Game Week 7. We've got all the action covered. I'm Mike, he's Dave, and this is the Top Bins Premier League review for Game Week 7. Another cracker of a weekend with some particularly good games this weekend as well. Lots of talking points. None more so, Davey, than our best mate, the one, the only, Jose Mourinho. You're in for another hammering, mate. You're in for a roasting. Well, Turn the oven on high.
That's right. It's become a trilogy now. We've got to roast him again. This is odd for us because West Ham have stunk of it so often at the early part of the season.
I'll tell you what, they're making me eat my words, mate.
They are. You'll check the new T-shirt above. Does Mike stink of it? We'll see. But
I've always stunk of it. Nothing's changed.
But honestly, this is, regardless of whether West Ham have come back into form, this is a piss poor result for United.
Watching the game through, United from the very start, from the moment that team goes out on the pitch, they're just not sure. They're completely second guessing what the manager's done tactically. McTominay as a third centre. You've got Bailly. How much do they pay for Bailly? 40 million.
Too much, but that's 40 not the million. Point. Yeah.
And they got him sitting on the bench, a world class centre back, and they're playing their young holding midfielder as a third centre back
for the first time ever in a top game.
Absolutely baffling against a team who are not in good form. This team has won one game.
Yeah, that's right.
One game.
And while that's said, you're putting this kid up against, while they've only won one game,
one of the better
centre forwards in the league at the moment.
Well,
he's strong, he's big, he's powerful.
Having said that, it seemed as though Smalling was given the task of marking Arnautovic in that game.
Oh, did it so well.
But for United to go 5 at the back in a game against a team who have struggled big time early doors in the league, who have only beaten one other team and drew against Chelsea. That's a good result for them last week against Chelsea.
It was a good result.
But otherwise, beat one team who were out of form on the day when they beat them against Everton. So for United to go out of a back 5 against a team like that is baffling to me. Absolutely baffling. What is he doing? What is Jose doing? What is he thinking? Has he been on the wine, Dave, before the game? Because I cannot think of a reason why you would go out and set up the way you set up against West Ham when you should be just going for them. First 15 minutes is crucial against a team like that. You get at them, you get into them, you harry, you press, you play a high front 3, you play a good strong 3 in the middle, and you have 4 at the back. You will absolutely blow away a team like West Ham in the first 15 with that kind of tactic, and then you shut the crowd down, you shut Arnautovic down, big confidence player.
Big confidence player.
You shut him down. The game's yours to take. But what are they doing? What is he doing?
Look, the minute I saw the team sheet before the game started, I was thinking to myself straight away, West Ham, they're going to bloody win this game.
Big trouble. I saw it straight. And from the get-go, from the whistle, West Ham were into it. It's almost like they were like, hold on, what are they doing? Yeah. Why is McTominay
we'll have a bit of this.
We will get into them, and that's exactly what they did. And they got straight into them, which meant the crowd were up for it. They got the early goal, and that was it. As soon as that goal went in from Felipe Anderson, that was it. That was the turn. That was the point at which there was no return for United.
And look, let's be clear here. While we're speaking about that goal, Felipe Anderson and Zabaleta were offside. I'll give you that. But you're going to get these kind of calls.
Marginal calls.
They were. I will say they were offside, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then for the final goal, well have the argument about whether there was the foul and the build-up. That's even more marginal.
Zabaleta's gone up. He's not gone into Rashford. He's gone up. Rashford's bounced off him and gone down. For me, that is not a foul. That is not a free kick.
I agree. And look, he's using this as an excuse, and I'm sitting there thinking, maybe that's an excuse for why you conceded 2 in a 4-2 win.
Yeah.
But you've just gone out. You watch the replay, and it's scary viewing if you're a United fan, because there are moments where we've got 5 at the back, we've got a bank of 3 in front of them, and the West Ham players are just burning at them, and they're running backwards scared.
They're getting wide, the West Ham players. They're causing problems. They made Zabaleta look like a peak Roberto Carlos, mate, in that game. It was...
They made Mark Noble look like
Zidane.
Gerrard or Zidane in their prime. I mean,
I mean,
he was pinging balls out with so much confidence.
Ridiculous.
And I'll give him this. we've been pretty critical of him.
Yeah.
And one of my big reasons I'm critical of Mark Noble is his mobility.
Yeah.
But in this game, he didn't need to be mobile.
No, he didn't.
He could just sit back like a quarterback looking for Arnautovic. And they've really got an understanding now.
They're linking up nicely.
And he read, especially for his goal, I mean, that was like schoolboy stuff.
But
best keeper in the world can't keep him out.
I mean, but even then, like, we won't focus too much on that because it's not really De Gea's fault. But, I mean, De Gea, Arnautovic has run in one-on-one. De Gea's not come out.
He's kind of not done anything.
He's just
stood
there and waited. And there's so much space either side of him to just roll it in. He's got all the time in the world. Come out and put him under pressure. Yeah. Make him make a decision. But instead, he's just giving him all the time in the world. Arnautovic's never going to miss on the form he's in. He's never missing from there if you're going to do that with him. And that killed the game off. But ultimately, the game was done and dusted early doors.
I mean, if he'd come out, made himself big and covered his left-hand side, the side where the goal went in, which we'll call in this situation the near post, really, you're forcing Arnautovic to go across you. I still think he scores, but you're making him work for it. He
exactly.
just tapped it in. It was a piece of piss. It was horrible from United. It was the worst they've been all season. You got star players that weren't playing. You've got odd selections. You've got the midweek training bust up. Today we've got the whole some of my players care, some of them don't care. I mean, is he packing
Excuses,
his bags?
Jose. You're done, mate. I think you're done. I don't think United can accept that anymore, and I can't see how much longer they can put up with these. Well, not only with the performances, but airing your dirty laundry out in public as well. And I don't think that any of that's going down very well with the owners, with any of the fans. I can't see him being there much longer. I think Pogba's probably going to go at some point as well. It would take a big managerial signing and a turnaround there to get his head turned back in the right direction. I think he wants to go to Barca. I think he's mentally checked out. He was awful against West Ham at the weekend.
Woeful.
He was absolutely terrible. The geezer thought that he could just stroll into the game, walk around. When he got the ball, he thought he could just... He had 15 touches, he'd touch it, and he thought he had all the time in the world to run the game. No pressing, no energy, no drive, no commitment. Going to cause you problems, mate, because you're not good enough to just walk around like that. You have to put the effort in as well. And he struggled big time, Pogba did. And he got whipped. He got the hook 65 minutes in.
Boy, did he get told about it from the West Ham fans.
Got laughed off by the West Ham fans pretty much. Rashford came on.
Looked a million times better.
Looked much better. Scored a lovely goal. Great finish, Rashford. Didn't celebrate. Very telling again.
It was.
You score a goal for Man United and very rarely do you see players not celebrate. They're not celebrating for a reason. They're not playing for a reason. And there's a lot of disharmony in that camp. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed, and I don't think Jose's the man to fix them anymore.
And look, this is an interesting question, right? So we've seen this before. We've seen this with Chelsea.
Yep.
This is exactly what happened at Chelsea.
Yep.
The wheels started falling off, and they waited so long to make the move. Oh, we don't want to pay out his contract. Oh, well, it could get better.
Get rid.
And it took so long. And then in the end, it was too late, and they had to pay out the contract.
Yep.
The damage had been done. So this is the question for Edward Woodward, and I love saying that. Edward Woodward, if you could just...
Say that after a few beers.
Yeah, that's right. Give us a yell, mate, because I'd love to know where your head's at right now, because honestly... If you wait too long, you're out of Champions League.
Yep.
You might even be out of Europa League
Yep.
if you keep in this form.
Yep.
And screw the money, mate. You guys can afford it. Pay him out. Get rid. Get Zizou in there ASAP, or whoever it is that's going to try and bring these guys together.
You need something because Mourinho's lost it now. It's gone. It's too far. There's nothing else he can do there that's going to have a positive effect. And I think that the longer they keep him, the more toxic that dressing room's going to get. The more players are going to want out. Albeit they haven't got a great squad, United, there are some players in there that on their day are world class.
Absolutely.
Alexis Sanchez didn't just become shit overnight. He's not a player that's just turned into rubbish overnight. You're not paying him 400k a week for nothing. He's a proper player, but you don't even name him in your squad. You're asking for big trouble. There's problems there. He's one of the best at what he does in the Premier League, and he's not playing. City wanted him. City wanted him for a reason. He's a top quality player. He made the wrong choice. He went to United under the wrong manager, and he's made the wrong choice. You're seeing players like Pogba, not good enough for United. They are top quality World Cup winners, World Cup dominators, but not good enough for United. Not doing it, and there's reasons, and that reason has to be Jose Mourinho. His tactics are shot. His man management is shot. when he goes down in a blaze of glory. He never just walks out quietly. He's going to bring everything down with him, and that is what's happening right now. I fear for United this season if they keep him on. It's just going to get worse and worse, and he's just going to ask for more and more money to sign more players that he's going to end up calling out next season.
That's it.
You're done, Jose. Respect or no respect, mate. Yeah, I think you're gone. I think this is the last.
Is for third season. Well, you're fucking shit.
You're gone, mate. You're finished.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's talk about West Ham quickly before we move on to the next game. We've given United an absolute pasting and they deserve it. But West Ham, for all of United's misgivings in that game, West Ham were excellent.
Oh, they smelt a win.
Yeah.
And like you said, from the off, they
saw that. I thought you were going to say they smelt lovely, Dave.
No. They don't stink of it, though. I think they've gone to neutral.
I'll tell you what.
They've gone to odor neutral.
So I think Yarmolenko's really impressing me since he's come in. He's made a big difference to that front three. He's a weird player, Yarmolenko. He doesn't look when he runs. He's not ridiculously quick or ridiculously strong, or he's not got any particular attribute
particularly
that's amazing.
Skillful dribbler or anything like that.
He's just very effective, and he's a very just effective player for West Ham, and he's linking up really, really well with that midfield with Arnautovic. Felipe Anderson's starting to come into his own a bit more now.
He's starting to look a lot
starting to
better.
show like the player that they paid that money for. That was a good finish of the first goal. Offside or not, you get into that position, lovely flick to do that, and he's put that straight in. Giving them the 1-0 lead. Second goal, massive deflection, got lucky, but poor defending from United again. Fellaini, I just don't understand it. I never understood the transfer in the first place. It was a weird David Moyes signing, and he's never made the grade at United, but they continue to play him.
Well, the fact that he is considered a key player for them in the off-season that they had to re-sign and all that. I mean, that to me just says how far United's fallen.
He's got to be seen as a mid-table Prem player at best. He's just not good enough for that top level. Got to get shot. Whoever comes in is going to need backing in the transfer market. If you want United to compete at the top level again, they're going to. If it's Zidane, if it's whoever it is, it's going to need big bucks to turn that squad around. I tell you, there's a lot in there that they can keep and they can work with. The Lukaku's, Rashford, the Sanchez's, Pogba's, if you can keep hold of him. De Gea, Lingard. There's good players in there.
But that squad.
Backline needs ripping out. Ashley Young's not a defender. Valencia's not a defender. They've got to sort that out. They really do.
Lindelof's not a defender. I'm sorry, but you paid a lot of money for him, and he is just... And I said, he'll adapt to the Premier League. He hasn't adapted. He's just not good enough. You bought him because Zlatan wanted a buddy, and he recommended him. You're well overpaid for him, and he has been a huge flop.
He's been shocking. And enough about United. They're in big trouble if they don't get rid of Jose. I expect that Jose will be gone in the next week or two.
Some saying by the weekend, some saying as of an hour ago, very early in the English morning, that there's already been preliminary talks with Zidane. If that's true, I mean, for United fans out there, I don't know how you feel. If I was you, I'd be wanting Jose out ASAP for anyone. I'd rather me be in charge than Jose right now.
I mean, Dave's got a fantastic record on
Football Manager. At Football Manager, in the Russian Premier League, mate, you can't beat me.
Nah, CV's just endless, just brilliant. But even if they don't get rid of him by this weekend, you've got to feel the Newcastle games make or break. And so check out our preview coming up later on this week for the inside on what we think is going to happen on that game. But look, well done, West Ham.
Yeah.
You're proving me wrong, making me eat my words. Arnautovic looking good. Front three looking good. Defence sorting themselves out. Fabianski very good as well.
Very good.
Another good save from Fellaini's header in that game. Look, West Ham, well done. United, big trouble.
And look, last thing, if West Ham can keep this going, to a certain extent, they've had a couple of good results over the last 3 weeks. If that is the turnaround for them, the T-shirts won't be out.
No,
we have put a hold on the printing at the moment.
We've put a hold on it. We haven't paid for anything at the moment, so rest assured, your pre-orders are safe for now.
That's right. So blow some more bubbles and we'll see how you are in 10 weeks. But not a bad turnaround so far, to be fair.
Well done, Pellegrini. And he's still in the job. Maybe my words as well. I said he'd be sacked by now. So well done, Pellegrini. All right, moving on. The big game of the weekend. The game that everyone was looking at on the fixture list and thinking, what a tasty game that is. Chelsea-Liverpool.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Newcastle-Leicester.
Sorry, mate. That's coming up later on and it's Cardiff-Burnley.
Yeah, this one wasn't bad either.
It's a very, very good game on paper. It was actually a very good game as well. I enjoyed the game as a neutral watching that. I thought it was a very, very interesting game. I thought Chelsea set up really well. You're not. I don't think it's the right tactic to go out after Liverpool and go all guns blazing. I thought they tactically, first half especially, looked pretty solid. Defensively looked pretty good. Liverpool had a few chances, and Salah of last season would have done a lot more in that first half than the Salah of this season.
In the first half alone.
But Chelsea were good, and Hazard's goal was, as much as it pains me to talk positively about Chelsea, Hazard's goal was a wonderful goal.
Oh, it was a beautiful little piece of interplay,
Kovacic and Hazard's link-up play there was outstanding. And what I really like about Hazard was his the whole game was his movement. His movement off the ball is something else to watch. Like, he really makes intelligent runs. And as soon as that little backheel flick to Kovacic, he spun and he was on his bike and he was on his way and he knew exactly the area of the pitch he wanted to attack and he drove into the space.
And he knew it was coming.
He knew it was coming. And Kovacic, who was grown into that role in centre mid, he didn't really start first couple of games of the season, but he's grown into that role in centre mid for Chelsea, and he's looking like a fairly decent player now.
He's looking like the player Madrid bought but never saw.
Well, and you got to think, looking back, people were slating Chelsea's business, getting rid of Courtois and bringing in Kovacic, but Kepa, the keeper,
couple of stunners,
doing all right. You know what? He's doing well. He's what I like about him is there's nothing flash about this lad. He's not. There's no singing and dancing about it. He's just coming in and he's a goalkeeper and he's doing his job and his distribution's good and he makes good saves and he just gets on with his job. He reminds me a lot of De Gea. He's got a very similar way about him in goal. Loves to save shots with his legs and he's very mobile with both his hands and his feet.
Gets down quick for a big guy as well, and I thought both keepers had very good games. I thought Alisson made a couple of wonder saves.
Well, the save against Hazard 1-on-1 in the second half, that's a game. That's the turning point.
That's the point.
That goes in. That's it. It's game over. 2-0. Lights out. He makes that save, which is a really good save, a proper save. That is 1-on-1 is where your keepers are making their bread and butter. Shot stopping reactions from shots outside the box. That's one thing, but 1-on-1 saves from the keeper, that's what they are there to do.
Absolutely.
And that was a really, really good save. Hazard potentially could have done better with the finish.
Should have done better.
But it was a good save from Alisson. That was the turning point.
And it's interesting, just quickly on Hazard before we move on.
Yeah.
A lot of players, and especially in the Spurs side, seem to be having some kind of a World Cup hangover. Just got better, Here's a guy who has played as many games as he would have if he'd played a World Cup final.
Yep.
It started at the World Cup,
yep.
And he has just gone to another level in the season so far. I mean, he has been outstanding.
Testament to his fitness.
That's right, yep. Fitness and passion. I think his desire is really there. And
considering he didn't get his move to Real as well, attitude he's shown has been fantastic. Proper professional attitude he's shown.
And he's clearly given the new manager a chance.
Yep.
And the new manager's won him over.
That's right.
And look, I'm super impressed with the way they're playing. I thought that they'd be a couple of years away from where they are now. They're really looking like they're going to be pushing City, just like I thought Liverpool would. And look, Chelsea, hats off. I don't think many teams are going to go to Stamford Bridge this year and take all 3 points.
I agree,
if
Dave.
any.
I agree. I think let's just go back to Hazard's goal. Wonderful finish. Really, really good finish. It's very hard skill to do. On his left peg, he's hit that with good power. It's swerved away from Alisson. Couldn't get down quick enough to it. Couldn't get his hand to it because it just swung away. It was just a very good finish. Yeah.
Tip of the finger, and that was it. And I think lucky to even get that.
Very good finish from Hazard. Well done. Salah.
Well, it was an odd game, wasn't it? Because in the first half, I thought Liverpool played pretty well and they created a lot of chances in the first half.
Yeah.
But they all fell to Mo. Yeah. And Mo just looks so short on confidence right now. He's making the runs. He's getting the ball in good positions. And I guess this is the key for me is he's one goal off where he was at this point last year.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's completely lost the plot.
No.
He doesn't look the confident guy he did last year. No. But he's still getting himself into positions. And what worries me is when a striker's not even there.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, he's putting himself out, he's making the runs, he's winning the ball. But in particular, the one where he leant back and it went to Rosie and closer to the corner flag, I mean, that was shocking. He was very unlucky with the heavy touch and then the block from Rudiger.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just looks a shadow of his.
Every time he misses something or does something wrong, he's like a kid at a school football match who's looking to their parents for a bit of reassurance. He just looks a bit lost. I think I said this earlier on today, Dave. I said I think he needs a break. I think he needs 2 or 3 weeks completely away from football to get his head sorted, to have a rest. He's played a lot of football, dislocated his shoulder,
and still feeling off with the shirt, and you can see he's still strapped with it, which is interesting.
You've got to give the lad a chance. I know he's a massive player for you, but I think you've got to give him a bit of a break. Let him recuperate properly and get back into it. And I think he's more used to you longer term this season that way than he is shorter term by keeping him playing week in, week out. But he's the main man, so
I wouldn't play him against Napoli in the Champions League. I'd let him rest and see what he can do against
Especially
City.
After you got your first result and they got the draw. I think that's pretty important that now you can rest someone like Salah. Give him a break. Don't even let him travel.
No,
just leave him at home. Let him rest up for the week. Get him back in training when you're back in Liverpool, and then give him a crack at City fresh.
And then that's it. We've got a couple of pretty nice fixtures after that.
Yeah.
So give him a crack at City. If he still looks a bit jaded, give him a couple of weeks off.
We've
got Huddersfield and Cardiff. 2 games that we should win without Mo Salah.
You don't need Mo Salah.
We don't need him. No. This is the perfect time. Give him a week. Give him a game off. If that doesn't work, give him 2 weeks off.
Yeah, I agree.
And see how we go. But look, going back to the game, wasn't Salah's finest. I thought Chelsea, it came back in the second half and looked the better side.
They did, yeah.
And certainly brought the stats more even. Interestingly, Liverpool did have slightly more clear-cut chances.
They did. I thought it was
Shaqiri missing an absolute
got to bury that. Not for me. I said this earlier in the season, Dave, on a Top Bins episode. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's top 4 material. I think that he's a good football player. Not doubting that he's not a good football player. I think he's scored some stunning goals in his career. I don't think he's good enough for the level that you need. And I think a lad who came off the bench, and if he can stay fit, he scored an absolute worldie. Hats off to you, Daniel Sturridge.
Danny Sturridge.
Absolute beauty of a goal that was. I mean, I was sitting there looking around when he had the ball, thinking there's nothing happening here. It's probably going to shift it wide, and he just hit it. Couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. The way he hit that, such a perfect hit, perfect amount of curl, perfect power, perfect dip. That's technically such a hard skill to do, especially with no run up onto it, hardly any backlift. He's just hit that, caught the keeper completely unaware. Fantastic goal. Hats off to you, Daniel Sturridge. You've earned your team a point with that goal because that is a cracker.
It was a cracker, and for me, and I try not to be biased. One of, if not the goal of the season so
Absolutely.
far.
I mean, you can't deny that.
Absolute stunner.
Can't deny that, David.
And then also in the context of winning the point as well.
Yeah, massive.
And I'm loving watching him at the moment. He's averaging a goal every 46 minutes this season.
There you go.
Which is
probably played about
Sturridge.
46 minutes, haven't he?
No, he's had a few games. Remember he scored against PSG.
Yeah.
He's actually
scored in the League Cup in the week.
He's been a pretty influential member of, and I mean, even at the end of the game, Hazard went up to him and they asked him.
Loved Hazard's interview. Seems like a funny lad. Loved his interview after the game, saying he scored a pretty good goal. Not as good as mine.
Wants to be
like me. Seems like a funny lad. Good bit of banter.
No, that was good. But Danny Sturridge, beautiful. Just finally on Shaqiri, I do agree with you to a large extent, but I will say for 12 million, it's worth a punt.
There you go. Not bad price for a player to take a. And I think, like I said, against lesser teams, he'll do well.
Yeah.
But it's when you need an impact player off the bench. I don't know if he's going to be the one against the City if you're 1-0 down and you need some inspiration. I don't think he's the man to bring on.
Well, you look at what they'll do, which is bring on Mahrez, and then I don't think Mahrez and Shaqiri are on the same level.
Nah.
But all in all, I thought it was a fair result, a really enjoyable game.
Yeah, very enjoyable game, very good. Well done, Chelsea. Played their part in that game. Well done, Liverpool. Excellent performance. Big shout out to Virgil van Dijk again. I thought he was excellent. I thought he played superbly well. Positional.
I thought all the centre backs played well.
Thought Gomez had a couple of moments where just a little bit there. So they got caught out on that quick free kick against when Conte took that quick one to Hazard and he ended up going 1-on-1. And I just think Gomez was a little bit asleep there. You look at Van Dijk's positioning and you look at Gomez's positioning there. And if Van Dijk's on the other side, he's ready. He's prepared for that. Gomez isn't. And that's that inexperience of a young lad coming in. I don't think he was bad. I just don't think it was his best performance. But I think Van Dijk was excellent.
And I think, like with Chelsea, I think Rudiger obviously played out of his skin, blocked the shot that could have been Mo's goal, but then was kind of a bit asleep for Sturridge's chance, and the press wasn't there, and gave Sturridge that second, and that was all he needed. So, but yeah, it just shows in the Premier League a second.
That's it.
Changes
That's all
everything.
it takes. Cracking game. All right. Unexpected third game for a feature game. We didn't think this was going to be one of the ones that we talk about last week. But Cardiff-Burnley was a cracker.
It was
excellent game
really
to watch.
Enjoyable game to
great
watch.
atmosphere in Cardiff there. It was the fans were right behind them. Sunday kickoff, proper game, It had that cup feel about it, didn't it? It had that cup final, and in essence, it was a cup final. It's those kind of games are the games you need to win if you're going to be in a dogfight down the bottom. And both of those teams are going to be in a dogfight down the bottom this season. And Cardiff will rue their missed chances in that game. They had chances, and they did not take them. And Burnley sucker punched them. I thought Burnley had a few chances, but really not that much. And Joe Hart was the busier keeper out of the two, and a couple of poor defensive mistakes from Cardiff, and Burnley have taken the 3 points there. And yeah, I mean, look, let's talk about the goals. The winner from Vokes. It was again Goodmanson having a great last couple of games. He has,
isn't he?
Put a really good cross in, but Cardiff's defensive shape there. If you freeze frame it when the ball gets lifted over the top to Goodmanson, you look at that shape that the Cardiff, they are all over the place, and there's no need to be. It's 1-1. You don't need to be all over the place like that. You set up your banks of four. You start to build from. You do your basics when you're a team at the bottom, and they absolutely messed it up. And I don't think they're good enough at the back. Their defenders, Bamba and Morrison. I'm sorry, but neither of them are Premier League quality.
Well, what the problem that I think they've got with their backline, and I don't disagree with that. I mean, Bamba, we saw what happened the other week. He got dropped for it as well. He scored one, and then he was an absolute shocker.
Yeah.
But Warnock's rotated that back four a lot.
He has.
And I don't think a team at their point in the table can afford to do that. I think he's really got to pick four guys that he's going to trust. Yeah. Barring just absolute shockers of form and injury, those four start every week.
Yep.
Because you've got to build from something, and you've got a keeper that's. I've said it all season. I'll say it again. He's Premier League quality. Etheridge is a good keeper.
Got to look at himself for that first goal.
He does.
And say he should be saving that. There's no way.
Well, near squeaking in. Goodmanson didn't even think he'd scored it. He had to look back, and he was like, it's gone in. But
got to save it.
I do agree with that. And look, he's not without mistake, but he's as good as many keepers in this league. And that was a mistake, but he hasn't made many, and he's made a hell of a lot of saves. But the guys in front of him are putting him under immense pressure, and a lot of that is the fact that Warnock's not picking a stable back four and backing them. I get you want to change, but I just think he really needs to just stick with four guys.
I mean, it was a different Cardiff performance to what we've seen previously, where they've been spanked and outplayed and limited to very few chances. They had chances in this game. They had good chances, and their goal was very good. They took it very well. It was a lovely move. Munga down the right wing, got up from full back, squared it to the edge of the area, and Murphy has buried that. He's absolutely buried it into the bottom corner. It's a great goal. It's a great finish. But defensively, too many mistakes. I thought Joe Hart was very good again. We've called him out in the last few weeks as being a good player for Burnley and being part of the turnaround for them. And he was very good again. He made another good few saves. It's really important in games like that your keeper comes up big, and Joe Hart did very well.
He did. And I think just back on Murphy, I thought Murphy had a really good game.
He was very busy.
He was all over
energy,
the pitch. I just couldn't believe how much I enjoyed this game. I'll be honest. When I got up for this, I thought, oh, God, here we go. Yeah. I've got to watch this because we talk about it. So you've got to watch it.
Yeah.
For me, the third best game of the weekend.
Great game.
And I think you did right. I think Cardiff were at it in the middle of the park. almost at it at the front.
Yeah.
But if they're going to defend like that, they're just not going to win games, even when guys like Murphy are starring. And they had chances to do better. Joe Hart has done well, kept Burnley in it, and I mean, Burnley will be chuffed to walk away with the points there because they were genuinely tested.
Yep. All right. Let's move over to City, top of the table, comfortable win against Brighton. Not much to talk about in this one. It was what it was. City were always going to dominate this game. They were always going to give Brighton a lesson in football, as they're going to do many teams this season. No discredit to Brighton. Chrissy Hughton went there and said, lads, give me everything you've got. We're going out. 2 banks of 5. We're trying to stop them. If we can get any shots off, we'll do it. But we're here for the 0-0. And couldn't quite get it done because City were just too good.
It was weird. It was. It started, obviously, City started pretty well, and they've got that swashbuckling style. And this is kind of counter to what you're saying before about teams that go out against Liverpool aren't going to see success. City don't buy that.
Nah.
City go out against whoever they play. Yeah. And maybe that's why they lost a few times to Liverpool last year, because they backed themselves. And boy, they backed themselves this game. And it actually turned out to be the first time that Brighton had a crack forward.
Yeah.
That they got conceded. And that's what City will do.
Such a rapid counter-attack. Sane and Sterling are so fast.
Fabulous pace.
Sane just burnt through that defence. And
Bong is with him. Bong's in front of him. He's with him. And then next thing you know is he looks and he's gone. He's in front of him.
And Sterling, we forget that Raheem Sterling's 23 years old. I tell you what, he's improved no end. Season on season, he keeps improving, keeps getting better, keeps scoring goals. His end product keeps getting better. Him and Sane looking very dangerous. And I tell you what, I was very impressed with Kun Aguero as well. Not properly fit, but proper experienced leader he was in that game. And that's what he is now. He's an experienced leader in that team. There's lots of good young players in that team, and the likes of him and David Silva are the experienced players that they need to mesh that all together. And I thought that second goal, Aguero's playing that second goal, that build up to that play, was lovely. Absolutely lovely stuff. Laid it off to Sterling. Sterling first time back to Aguero. Bish, bosh, bash. It's all done. 2-0. Could have been a lot more. And we say that each week about City. Could have been a lot more.
And it was a lovely, unselfish team goal. I mean, you've got guys that love a bit of limelight in there touching the ball. But no, like Sterling didn't for a second think about shooting.
Nah.
It was always going back to Aguero. Put himself into a beautiful position. He'd started the move. He finished the move. Just a stunning team goal.
Yeah.
I had to keep rewinding it. I watched it
Great
4
goal.
or 5 times.
Great
I
goal.
really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, Sane's back to the kind of form that made him the PFA Young Player of the Year last year.
He is.
Sterling, we know, he started at QPR, he came to Liverpool, now he's gone to City. When we sold him for 50 million, I thought we'd absolutely done City over.
You look at it now, and he's probably worth double that now.
He looks a bargain.
You think if Madrid came knocking for him, he'd be worth 150 mil.
He's got his head right. He's got his off-the-field problems sorted, and he is just playing great football and getting better and better. And like you say, these old heads, they've got a fabulous blend of youth and experience in this City team.
Yeah.
And the only thing for me with City at the moment is Aguero's not fit. They're talking about him struggling with a foot injury. They want to manage him and get 60 minutes out of him, and it's the replacements for him that just aren't up to it. Like if you're 0-0, 1-1, and you have to bring Jesus in, I just don't. The drop in quality there is just too far, and I think City really. I was amazed they didn't bag themselves another either an up and coming or a near the end of their career top striker to back Aguero. And I think that will be interesting, because if Aguero doesn't get over his injury and you are relying on Jesus, he will not do the job that Aguero will.
Yeah, well, look, it's going to be interesting to see in the next week in particular against Liverpool how Aguero gets on and how long he plays in that game, because he's pivotal to them this season. He stepped up Aguero this season. Guardiola initially wasn't a massive fan of Aguero.
No, unbelievable, really.
And he's really turned it around. And again, shows you the professionalism of the lad. He's got his head down. He's adapted to the style. He does what Guardiola wants him to do, and he's doing it very well now. But let's draw a line under that game. We knew it was going to happen. City won it. Brighton didn't do anything. Edison could have taken a day off.
Yeah, Glenn Murray.
Glenn Murray did he take the day off?
He was up with the 100-year-old ladies again and just enjoying a cup of tea and a little cucumber sandwich.
And dunking his Dairy biscuit.
Why not? Why not?
All right. On to the next game, Spurs against Huddersfield. Decent game. Huddersfield actually gave it a good crack. And Harry Kane's back in the goals, getting a couple of goals. He looked a bit stronger, a bit fitter. Still not quite Harry Kane at his best.
No, and he looked fucked after the game.
He did look fucked after the game.
He looked like he just played 3 games.
He could barely talk, but I think he just can barely talk in general. I think that's just Harry Kane. But he did well. First goal's a good goal, good solid header. He's done well. Penalty. He's never missing it, is he? He's a great penalty taker.
Puts him ahead of Jermaine Defoe in the all-time Spurs goal-scoring list as well. I mean,
does.
This guy is
and he's
looking...
still, how old is he? 25?
25. Look, Jimmy Greaves isn't that far away from him. So he's got all-time Spurs leading scorer written all over
whether he stays at Spurs for the rest of his career, that's the question. I would like to see Harry Kane go to another team. I don't know if I'd like to see him go abroad. But I'd like to see him go to another team and see if he can do it there and see what he could do. What he can achieve.
Imagine if he filled that gap at City.
Oof, dangerous. Because I mean, Aguero's getting on. He's 31.
That's right,
Aguero. So there's only probably a season or 2 left at that top level that Aguero's going to get. And I mean, Kane would be outstanding in that lineup. Anyway, back to the game. Spurs were again good in spells, but Huddersfield gave it a right good crack in the first half. Unlucky, some good efforts they had on target. Spurs looked a bit more solid at the back. I'm still not convinced. I watched the game and again I thought Eric Dyer was terrible. How is he getting games week in, week out? He is terrible. He's an awful player. He gives the ball away so many times. He's just not up to it in that holding midfield role, and I really think they need to do something about it. They need to address it sooner rather than later because he's a massive liability in their team.
Well, it was a carbon copy of how he played against Liverpool, except we're talking about playing like that against Huddersfield.
Yeah, no pressure.
That's not good. No. If you can go to Anfield or sorry, in this case it was at Wembley, and be outplayed by a genuinely fairly world class midfield with guys like Milner that'll run you ragged. Sure, okay, you might get exposed, but against Huddersfield, if you're an England international, you should be dominating that midfield. That's right. He got completely outplayed.
It was rubbish. But Spurs going forward look decent. Mora back at it. Lots of pace, lots of energy. Son still, I think he's wearing a bit of a hangover from the Asian Games. I think he's just so relieved he doesn't have to do military service that his kind of head's not quite fully back into Premier League football. I think he'll come good. He's a quality player. I think he'll come good again. He's had a lot of football again, that lad. He's played the World Cup. He's then gone straight to the Asian Games.
7 games in 13 days, I think he played in the Asian Games. I mean, that is a phenomenal
no matter the quality of opposition, he was playing for his life pretty much in that. So he would have been given absolutely everything for 90 minutes every game. And then he went to extra time in a couple of them as well. It would have really taken its toll. So I'm not surprised to not see him firing on all cylinders quite yet. But Spurs, I'm still not convinced. They beat Huddersfield 2-0. Another 3 points for them. They'll be happy with that. But Pochettino's got to think about what he's going to be. He needs to plan now. He needs to talk to Levy now and tell him what he wants in January because he needs something. He needs 2 or 3 players there to take them on. He needs a second striker. He needs another holding midfield player to get rid of Dyer out of there, and he probably needs another defender as well. There's not enough in that squad to keep them going for the rest of this season and getting them top 4.
Well, Levy won't buy in summer, so he's not going to buy in January. This is the problem when players are overly inflated price-wise, reluctant to leave the team they're at unless they get offered really high wages. And if there's one thing we know, he's not going to pay high fees and he's not going to pay high wages. I mean, the wages at Spurs, have a look at what these guys are getting paid versus everyone else in the Premier League. I mean, we talked about Sanchez on $400,000 a week. Harry Kane's on like low 100.
Yeah, I think he's on 110 or something.
I mean, that's ridiculous. For a player of his quality. And this is why, when you say, will Kane stay there? And these will be the factors why he won't.
Some point his agent's going to say to him, mate, you can go and get £500,000 a week at any of these clubs. Where do you want to go?
I could tripling his wages. Wouldn't even put him in the top 5% of Premier League players.
Wouldn't even give him what Alexis Sanchez gets at United and does nothing for it.
That's it. But I thought 2-0. We've been a bit critical of Spurs.
Yeah,
and I say that
as well.
Yeah, we have, and I say that because I rate Poch. I think he's a great manager, and when they're on, they play great. But when they're not on, they really do look that step down. Yeah. And I thought 2-0 actually flattered them a bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think Huddersfield were good for a goal.
That Lerva strike.
Strike. Lovely hit. Lovely bend on that. It's gone all the way outside the post, come back in. Good save.
If that had gone in, that would have been right up there with Danny Studge. I mean, that was such a hit. And he leathered it, and from a decent distance out, enough to get it out and back in.
Gazzaniga, good save though, got down.
It was a good save.
Good save from
it needed to be made. And I would have felt like 2-1 would have been a better reflection of the game we saw.
Yeah.
Huddersfield, I'd take something out of that if I was Huddersfield.
Wagner said at the end of the game that he was proud of his team, and I think that's fair. They gave it a good crack against a decent team, and they were unlucky not to get something out of the game. I don't think they were good enough for a point, but to not score, I think they deserved the goal at least in the game.
Agree.
And they'll be encouraged at least by that. And I think Spurs have got a lot of improving to do still, but they've got quality players, and I think over the season those quality players will get them enough points, but they do need some more signings if they want top 4.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Over to the Emirates. Arsenal 2-0 did the job, but only just
barely. And look, Watford were absolutely on fire.
They were good.
And they've really turned that gas down in the last couple of weeks. They don't look awful, but they've just lost that killer instinct, that spark, and they had a couple of great chances to score. Deeney in particular was wasteful a couple of times.
Yeah.
That said, Petr Cech got the injury pretty early on. Leno came on and was outrageously good.
Did very well. Great save from Deeney, and that when Deeney opened his foot up and guided it in from the free kick, and Leno had to get down. It's a hard save to make, down and palm that out around outside the post. Did really well.
He did, and I thought he made a couple of great saves. I thought his distribution was really good. Decision making was really good, and without just bigging us up too much, but well played, mate. It was all the stuff we were talking about Petr Cech wasn't doing, and while Petr Cech's shot stopping the last few weeks has been great, and we have praised him for some great performances.
He's not the answer to Arsenal's goalkeeping problems.
That's it. He's not doing that role, and I think now we've all seen Leno go out and do that, and boy, he looked good, and he was so composed in his post-match. Yeah. Full of respect for Petr Cech, wishing him well. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it was really great to get out there and do an okay job. He did a fabulous job, and he was the winning of this game for Arsenal because...
him and Alex Iwobi.
Iwobi as well. Yeah. Iwobi was the goals, and the clean sheet was Leno's great form. But, Iwobi came on and turned, in 10 minutes, dreadful attacking performance into 2-0.
A real injection of energy into the game when Arsenal most needed it. When it looked like the game was just going to kind of tail off into a 0-0, which would have been a bad result for Arsenal, I feel, at home. A 0-0 wouldn't have been good enough. But you now look at it, and they're unbeaten in they've won the last 4 games.
They have.
They're looking decent. They're starting to click. Lacazette's looking confident. Aubameyang's still not looking quite right, but Lacazette's looking confident. Ozil's got a couple of goals in a couple of games.
First goal at the Emirates since April.
They're getting the points now, and Emery will be pleased to be able to see that the style of football he's trying to implement is slowly starting to get the rewards that he wants to get from those games. And look, you can't argue with them. 3 points. They look better than Spurs do at the moment when I watch them. So, I mean, at the moment, for me, if you're going to say who's going to get that 4th position, Arsenal look like early doors. I know it's early doors, but Arsenal look like a team that's going to do it.
Well, United are starting to think of it too.
And they are. And Spurs, like we said, I don't know if they've got enough in the tank for the whole season. So I think Arsenal could be the ones to get 4th place at the moment.
And one of the best stats from the weekend was I don't know if you saw this on Match of the Day, Unai Emery's heat map.
Oh yeah, up and down that touchline.
Absolutely. I mean,
I want to get the 4th official on that because he's not allowed out of his technical.
Well, I'm guessing it's over both halves, right? But even still, unbelievable. I mean, he was just everywhere on the sideline, hammering out instructions, really supportive of his team. I think he's starting to turn a corner with them. I'd like to see Leno. I mean, I don't wish Petr Cech bad luck with the injury, but I really do want to see more of Leno.
Well, I think Leno will play next week. I think he'll start next week, and that's his opportunity there to start stamping his authority on that position and saying that's mine now, Peter.
And you do your hamstring at 36. You don't get over it in a week as well.
That's
so
right.
I think he's going to get a couple of games, and then it's going to be a tough push for our little drummer boy to get himself back in goal.
Poor old Petter. All right, Goodison, Everton, Fulham, comfortable win in the end for Everton. They look decent. Fulham not quite a races. Mitrovic missing. Fulham didn't quite look like they were ready for that game, and
Schürrle missing a sitter
early doors. He missed a sitter, and I think Fulham in the first half had their best chances to be able to get something out of that game. As soon as they didn't take them, it's almost like this rule of I say something the next week, that person goes and changes it. Cenk Tosun comes off the bench, hasn't scored all season. I've been calling him out every week. Goes and scores. Still don't think he'll score many. I would have scored that. Theo Walcott gets all the credit for that. That was an absolute peach of a ball back post. But man of the game, everything happened through him. Missed the penalty. But scored a couple of goals as well. One absolute worldie. Technique on that first goal that he scored was phenomenal. That is so hard to do. When the ball's coming back at you first time at pace, you hit it, you guide it into the bottom corner. Absolutely phenomenal. Gylfi Sigurdsson, well done, mate. Great performance.
Yep, and while he had a great performance, I just want to see that more from him. Yeah. He is a great player, on his day he'll play like this, but his day isn't enough, and it needs to be more, especially when you paid $50 million for him.
That's right.
But I think you touched on it the other week. You said Fulham are defensively naive, and that's really stuck in my head because they are, and this wasn't a good away showing for them. Yeah, okay, travelling up north, and Goodison's not an easy place to go. Certainly the easier of the two in the couple of mile radius, but not an easy place to play.
Tranmere Rovers not easy.
No, that's right, Tranmere. That's right. Just ask Loris Karius. But I thought at the back, Fulham, disorganised and just didn't look into the game. I thought if Schürrle had scored early doors, it could have been a very different game, but they had a couple of good chances, wasted them. I thought Ryan Sessegnon played his best game in the Premier League season.
Should have scored as
so
well.
far,
We're talking about guys should have scored. I know he hit the bar and it came out, but I don't care. You're 5 yards out, Premier League, one-on-one with a keeper. You've got to be burying those, mate.
Even if it's Pickford. And to be fair, Pickford had a better game this week as well. Did.
But I love how he celebrated that one-on-one.
Yeah.
When there was
with
a heavy...
basically still live as well.
Heavy touch. He's thrown it out and he's celebrated like it's a goal. Love that.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Theo Walcott, outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, as good as Gylfi Sigurdsson was, and he'll get all the plaudits, Theo Walcott was the one who actually ran the game.
Him, didn't he?
And he just looked, with his pace, with his passing, often just with his runs that he was making to divert defence, to take the ball the other way. Yeah. I just thought he had a stunning game.
Yeah, fair play. And look, second win of the season for Everton. They looked like the real deal when they started the season, but they kind of haven't picked up the points to go with it. But they'll be encouraged by that, and they've got Leicester next weekend. Big game for them. Two teams in decent form.
You'd want to watch a preview show to see who's going to win that one.
Definitely want to watch a preview show to see who we pick for that one. Everton, Marcus Silva will be very happy with that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the other new boys. Wolves, cracking win again, 2-0. They've got to be delighted with their start, haven't
they? They do. And this, for me, was the manager's day.
Yeah.
This is a team that really want to play for their manager, and a manager that made two inspired substitutions, and with the winning of the game.
That's right. And I thought Adama Traore on the right wing, full of pace, full of power, looked very, very good. I thought that Raul Jimenez up the middle, excellent as well. Looks really strong, really powerful. Good hold-up play, good link-up play. I thought overall Fulham were very, very deserving of the 3 points. They played very well, and hats off to them. Southampton really didn't offer a lot. They had a couple of good chances. Elianusi, early doors, just wasteful. They played
shots.
They played both Ings and Austin up top. And it didn't quite click. You think two good strikers like that, you think get some goals. But Charlie Austin doesn't look fit. He doesn't look confident. And Danny Ings just looked a bit frustrated in that game, that he didn't really get the service he wanted. And we can see he's been on that merry-go-round many times before. We've had this dance and we've heard this song before, Marky Hughes. And I think your time is nearly up, mate. I think he's going to be gone.
Yeah. I think Southampton are in more trouble than perhaps it looks at the moment. But what are they? 5 points now after 7 games. Yeah. Home form's not been good. Away form's been dreadful. Yeah. Didn't look once like threatening Wolves. No. Much like they looked at Liverpool, just awful. Not in.
And look, Wolves were excellent. Wolves were very, very good for that game, and for a team that are newly promoted, you've got to give them massive credit. They've done so well. So well done, Wolves. Hats off to you. Another 3 points in the bag. Nuno got to be up for that Manager of the Month award, doesn't he?
He does, and I mean, like I say, I think he outmanaged Mark Hughes, which to be fair isn't that hard.
But again, Dave. Football Manager.
That's right. I mean, I'm going to make a big call here. I think Nuno would have outmanaged me on the day. He great management, set them up beautifully. They had a fabulous game plan to win a game at home. It wasn't quite going their way. He made a couple of inspired substitutions. One scoring with his first touch in the Premier League after being on for 90 seconds. Yep. The other being Traore, who didn't score but was just such a threat. And we've talked about him week in, week out. He's big, he's strong. Pace. He's just, I forget which, it may have even been Martin Keown on Match of the Day I was watching. He said it, he had a fabulous call about him. He said he's always had a Ferrari engine. But with a learner's license. And it looks like he's got his race car license now, because he is really making the most of his power, his frame, making the right decisions with the ball at his feet. And he just looks a great signing for Wolves.
Fair play, Wolves. Great result. So over to Bournemouth now, the next game, and it was a great result for them. They'll be delighted with the 3 points, but Palace will be ruining their luck with that penalty given late in the day and not picking up at least a point. Brooks got the goal early on for Bournemouth. Lovely finish, lovely layoff from Callum Wilson, and superb finish in the top corner. Opens his account for Bournemouth. Likewise, a good goal for Van Aanholt, but we had a look at it again, Dave, and we think Begovic could have done better, don't we?
I definitely think Begovic could have done better. You did right. I think like a decent strike. But Begovic looked to me like he thought it was coming in a lot lower than it was, and while he got up a little bit to it, he should a keeper with his experience should have read that better.
Look, there was pace on the shot, and it was hit really well by Van Aanholt, but it's your near post, and if you get a hand to it, your near post, you really should be expected to save it. And Begovic will be very disappointed they let that one in. But Palace were right back in it then. They were back in the hunt. Looked like a good point for them going away to Bournemouth, getting a result, and then 5 minutes to go. Big lump at the back, puts his hand up in someone's face. I don't know if that's a pen, Dave. You thought it was a pen.
Look, it's probably the most controversial moment of the weekend, and that's saying something about the weekend, because we've seen penalties, red cards, blah, blah, blah in the first 7 weeks. This was a pretty incident-free weekend. But this is definitely the talking point. I mean, he's put his hand in his mush. Now, did he need to do it? No. Is it by the letter of the law a penalty? Maybe. Probably, yeah. Should it have been given?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think you see a lot worse than that in the penalty area. You're going to give that, you're literally going to have to give a lot of penalties in a game, because a hand in the face by accident, and it did look by accident, it really doesn't warrant a penalty for me, especially the kind of way he's kind of looking away and his hand's gone up and he's hit him in the face. I think it's very soft, and I think Crystal Palace will feel very hard done by not getting at least a point out of that game. Junior Stanislas, the hero of Bournemouth, steps up. What's he doing taking penalties?
I mean, he's buried it.
It's well done. Yeah,
but why is he taking them?
Callum Wilson,
Hennessy has been saving shots for fun.
Yeah.
Callum Wilson should have been taking that penalty.
Just for Dream Team points. Does he not know he's in my Dream Team?
Or Fraser. Come on, little Fraser. But anyway, look, I think when you're on the bus back to London as Crystal Palace, if they're on a bus, I'm guessing Crystal Palace.
I think they're on a bus. Yeah, maybe a van. Yeah.
Roy Hodgson's probably sitting there with Sacco, and he's probably thinking, look, that was probably a soft pen.
You didn't need to do it.
But your hand shouldn't have been there. Yeah. And I guess that's what you've got to take into account. Yeah, I think it was soft, but it's like we've said all season. You give a referee a decision to make.
And he has to make
a decision. And he has to make one. Yeah. And you don't put your hand there. He's got no decision to make. Now, I'm not saying, I know you said I thought it was a penalty. I think I saw why it was given. I don't know if I agree. I think it was soft as shite.
Yeah,
but Mahamadou Sakho has got a reputation for doing stupid things, and this is just another one. I mean, on his day, if you get rid of that stuff, he's a world-class international centre-back.
Yeah.
But he just has these moments of madness. And this is just another one where they're good for a point, pushing for 3, and they've just lost the game.
All right, well, look, we've got one more game, and that was at St James's, and that was Newcastle against Leicester. And Leicester went there and did the business. Newcastle had a few chances here and there, but overall Leicester very good. Very professional performance to go away to Newcastle and get the 3 points. Harry Maguire, fantasy gold this week, 18 points from the back.
Yeah, absolutely great.
Scored, made a goal-saving tackle in the game.
Beautiful tackle.
Great tackle. I mean, I think Joselu needs to do better. He's slow and he takes too long. But,
too many touches.
But still a great tackle.
Great tackle.
And look, our boy Maddison done it again. Turned up this week.
Yep.
Took the game by the scruff of the neck and really controlled the game. Really looked dominant in that midfield. Linked up really nicely with Jamie Vardy, who's on the score sheet again. And Leicester are looking all right at the moment.
Leicester are. They had a wobble. They didn't look great, but they look like they've recovered.
Yep.
And I think, you're right. I think Vardy's playing well.
Yep.
Maddison isn't just settling into the Premier League. He's running.
Could be signing in the season, Maddison, for the money they paid, 20 million.
I mean, it looks an absolute bargain at this point. He's running that midfield for them.
Yeah.
We were critical of the back two, and hilarious in the replay of the goal. You'll see Wes Morgan piggybacking.
Yeah.
He was up there for the goal as well. Look, we were critical of them a couple of weeks ago, and I think they deserved it. They were awful, but this shows that Maguire is a good player.
Yeah.
Well taken goal. Great tackle, like you say. But
Not really a test against Newcastle, was it?
No. And I think a couple of moments there, like Perez was incredibly wasteful a couple of times.
Yeah.
Again,
could have had a pen.
Heavy touches. Could have had a pen, but it would have been a soft.
Would have been soft.
Pen,
I would have been pissed off if he'd given it against me.
For me, the biggest talking point of this game was every time that camera got on Mike Ashley. I mean, this crowd are just... all over him. He's sitting there smug as shit with a big smile on his face.
It's almost like that's gone on for so long now that it doesn't even faze him anymore.
He's laughing.
He's just laughing. He's laughing all the way to the bank. He doesn't care. And I think Newcastle fans are in for a lot more heartbreak this season. Looking really toothless up front. Yeah. Rondon's the only signing you made. Is he ever going to score again? Is he just going to be
for West Brom? Why would he for Newcastle?
Is he just going to be Christian Benteke Mac 2?
I don't know about that. He can walk.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, it's not looking good for Newcastle. Let's say that they've got a big game this weekend coming up against United. Huge game to go away to United. Rafa's going to want to try and get something out of that, but it's going to be tough for them. I tell you, they're not looking very strong going forward. And when you don't have goals in you, you have to stop them going in and they're not stopping them going in either. I think they're really going to struggle.
And look, Gareth Southgate was there, and guys like Jandro Shelvey would have wanted to have a big game. Yeah. He was virtually anonymous.
Lascelles as well.
Lascelles, not impressive for me. Most impressive moment of the match was when he was piggybacking Wes Morgan. Which was hilarious and good for a meme, but not going to get you in the England team.
Yeah.
I think the guy who sat there and he'll have a huge smile on his face in the dressing room knowing Gareth Southgate was there, was our boy Maddie, and we talked about it. We've talked about him.
He's getting a call up, lads. He's getting a call up. He's going to be.
Oh yeah, and that would have been, the name would have been on the notebook already. There just would have been a couple of nice underlines. I
love to see him in there instead of Dele Alli. I tell you.
Me too. And I think, look, even it like, I know they don't play the same position, but if you got to fit him in, you just get rid of Eric Dyer. You put him in, and you just say someone else is going to have to play a bit more defensively because Dyer does not deserve a 3-line shirt. Maddison's doing everything to say, not only do I deserve to wear it once, but I deserve to wear it for the next 10 or so years.
That's right. Good on you, James Maddison. Great performance. Good result, Claude Puel. Be very happy with that. 3 points. Right, that's it. That's all the games from the weekend. Another cracking weekend of Premier League games. Loved every minute of it. Big game at Chelsea. Lived up to the expectation. It was a great game of football. United struggled big time. We can't wait for this weekend's games. There's more crackers coming up, so don't forget to check out our Premier League preview coming later on this week. Also, don't forget to check out our Facebook. It's facebook.com/TopBinsFantasy. We've loved it. We hope you've loved it. Hit like, hit subscribe, and don't forget to join us again later on this week. Thank you very much.
Oh shit, I'm not wearing a hat. That's never happened before. Shock.
I say walk like they talk like they know. Walking, talking like they know. What do they know? Talking like they know. Maybe they know, no.